We are now live. Welcome, everyone to what I'm going to call Tuesday, November 25th, the Thanksgiving edition of No Jazz Show, NOJASS, which stands for Not Just Another Sports Show. I am your host, KD, and always to my right, probably your left. Probably when we edit this, he's going to be to your left. I've done this enough times. My main man, my partner. One day we're gonna put him on the payroll and have him host the show because I'm getting kind of tired. But nevertheless, my main man Tank, give it up for Tank. Tank.
Hey, I'm a little down right now. You know why, but we'll get into it later.
Don't be down.
I'm gonna be like that for the next week. We're gonna get into that.
I'm gonna give you a few reasons to get up, and I don't mean the ESPN sports show. You know, no, I don't want to be, giving out any free advertisement for ESPN. But this is not just another sports show, as I stated before. And I thank you all for joining us live. And you can catch us on the Foot Locker or the Locker Room. Excuse me. I'm talking about these advertisements going crazy. The Locker Room page. I think. Are they on your page, Tank?
Yeah, they're on my page also.
All right. What's your page?
Russell Tanker, RussellTanker, and also on the group page, No Jazz, NOJASS on Facebook, NOJASS.
And you can also find that same spelling, No Jazz Show, NOJASSSHOW, where we're live on Twitch. Also live on YouTube. If you want to catch us on YouTube, we are live right now on YouTube, and of course on my Facebook page, DUPONTNIVEK. I think that's how I spell my page. Good God, capital DUPONTZNIVEK. You can find us live right now. Hold on, what's going on? Yeah. We are live and direct. And before we begin, we definitely want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Oh, I'm still here. Okay. Our sponsors. I paused a second. Our sponsors, Light Snack, for all of your food delivery needs, and you can get your food delivery needs, breakfast, lunch, and dinner during the holidays as well at LYTESNACK, lightsnack.com. And make sure when you go to lightsnack.com and order your food, order those Magic City wings, where you can get all of your hot wings, breaded wings, drumsticks, flats, all your sauces you want. And speaking of sauce, don't forget their motto. Don't forget to lick the sauce. And as Black Friday approaches and the holidays approach, make sure you go to Quick Visits, QUIKVISITS, visits.com for all your lingerie. I'm trying to say it wrong. And I can't even say it wrong. For all your lingerie needs and nightwear needs for your lady, and ladies, you can do it for yourself. Now that that's been said, we're going to give all of them. Take a check here. Now we about to get into this. And before I begin, in this life, universal law, one of the main things you need to do, you should do, as they say, you should practice, besides meditation, is giving gratitude, because they say gratitude acts as a mirror. So you need to be thankful, this holiday weekend. Be thankful for all the things that you have. So God, whatever God you choose to believe in, the universe, whatever, can be a mirror, and you need to be thankful for what you have, and then you can have more abundantly, and you can give back, and you can get it back. And I say all that to say, I just want to thank Tank and the Pittsburgh Steelers for giving us this steal that we have by the name of George Pickens that we got for a two third round picks.
Fish heads and rice.
I mean, and let me tell you, you know how they say right now, and barring anything, I pray this man, I pray all everybody on the Dallas Cowboys stays healthy. But George Pickens is the gift that keeps on giving. And I just want to throw out some numbers, man. They had a comparison, and I know it's two different offenses, so I don't want to do that. But they did have a comparison that I think George Pickens has 1,058 yards, and all of the receivers on the Pittsburgh Steelers combined have a total of 1,042. So, you know, shout out to George right now, man. Just shout out to George. Shout out to George. You all saw the short. 9 of 9, 9 targets, rocking and rolling. And then I personally have said that I don't want to, or I don't believe in pumping up a team that's not over 500. I don't even like to pump up a team that's one win over 500. However, this Sunday, the Cowboy fans Thanksgiving did come early, and the Cowboy fans did roast some bird. You know, we ate some eagle Sunday when we went down.
Species.
Endangered, boy. I'm telling you. And they were bald. They were bald in the second half. You know, no pun intended, Tank, but they were bald. They were bald eagles in the second half because they really didn't get anything. And we came back after making so many mistakes and continuing actually to make mistakes and still pull out a win 24-21. It was it was stressful. It was a joy to watch. Shout out to my cousin Cedric Durant, because we had a bet that I thought I was going to go 3-0 this weekend, meaning the Hurricanes were going to win. FAMU Rattlers unfortunately had a comeback, and then they ended up losing to BCU in the Florida Classic, and the Cowboys were going to win. But I ended up 2-1. But it all made sense because I wasn't supposed to be 3-0. It was supposed to be 2-1 to represent the 21st being my birthday, which was Friday. Happy birthday to me, and a shout out to everyone who wished me happy birthday, you know, last Friday, you know, on my birthday. I just want to put that out there right quick, you know, and let everyone know. Now, enough about my happiness. I want to hand it over to Tank because, as you can see, when they win, I think he wears the gold and black. But when they lose, he doesn't seem to, you know, drape those colors. So he's obviously wearing his work shirt. So we're going to put 2 and 2 together and kind of, you know, use deductive reasoning and believe that they did suffer an L this weekend. So you want to talk about that L, Tank? Just go ahead. You know, the floor is yours. The floor is yours.
But I'll talk about our fiasco after I give a few points about, you know, yellow team.
You want to hold on. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
First and foremost, there's no reason ever, barring catastrophic injuries, for a football team, a professional football team, to blow a 21-point lead. That tells you there are really some issues going on with the Philadelphia Eagles, and there's a lot more than, you know, the alleged assumed problems with AJ Brown. There's problems with that offense altogether. There's a problem with coaching. There's a problem with their locker room because what they did in the second half, I'm not gonna say they're too good. Yeah, what they did. I'm not gonna say they're too good a team because it's proven to be false because they did it. But there's too much talent on that team to blow a 21-point lead, and they blew a 21-point lead in a way that the first half looked like a fluke. It was almost like, oh man, that really wasn't the Eagles in the first half. They got lucky or whatnot. I mean, hats off to Dallas. They came back. They fought back. They didn't give up. And the difference in those two teams, what we saw was one team didn't give up. They continued to do what their game plan was. They didn't deviate. And they believe they have a belief in whatever it is that they're going, whatever needs to be done. And their owner, it's senile as he is, he went out and he made moves that everybody thought was kind of crazy. And it's JJ, and he is nuts. But he did what needed to be done as far as to improve the defense. The defense, we can't say, or they don't look better. They've looked better the past 2 weeks. And those guys have fallen in line and just started doing what it is they need to be doing. I think there was definitely a shot in the arm for the entire team. Now they feel like, okay, we can score these points on offense, but we got a defense that can stop teams from scoring in spite of what happened in the first half. And this is something I've never seen happen before. I've never seen a team get another receiver who overtakes the number one and outperforms and shows that he is better than the number one. I mean, CD has 7 drops this year.
Third in the NFL.
Yeah, and you gave him all that money last year, and he feels as though he's one of the top. He's a top receiver, and what we've seen the past couple of weeks, he isn't. And you see Dak has the confidence in Pickens to throw up those 50-50 balls and say, oh, it's 50-50, but the 50-50 is he's going to catch it. It's not getting picked.
70-30.
It's going to, yeah. I mean, Pickens is just all out better. He's better than Dak. I mean, he's better than CD. He was always better. He's just in a position where there's a capable offensive coordinator who knows how to scheme and get him open and play to his strengths. So I don't think that Dallas has uncovered anything that anybody who was knowledgeable about football didn't already know. He's just now being utilized in a system that they're saying, okay, you're good enough to be a number one, and we're gonna play it, and we're gonna we're gonna throw you out there. We're gonna run these routes, and we're not gonna scheme to get these balls to CD. We're gonna scheme to jack whoever gets open and whoever's hot. That's who you go to. And as long as they can keep that chemistry going between the three of them, because I don't think CD is upset about it because they started winning now. But I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a guy come in and overtake the number one guy like that. I mean, there's a clear difference in those two. It's not
very clear.
That's close, you know. Either one of them could be the number one. No. He's the number one, and as we discussed last week, he needs to get paid like a number one at the end of this season. That means you're going to either have a situation like they got in Cincinnati, $200 million receivers, or he's going to go somewhere else and get paid and be the big dog there.
And looking at his career thus far, I think his family and his agents are indeed going to look into his level of productivity continuing, because he's only 24 years old. I think they will look at the quarterback, when they make that decision. It's just not going to be
they better
Tyreek Hill like for the money,
right.
and for the people in the chat, CD gets double teamed. Honestly,
no, he ain't.
Adoree covered CD and GP. Quinion Mitchell, the number one cornerback for the Eagles, covered both GP and CD. He was blanketed by Blankenship and Cooper DeJean, both of them. The impact was just more for GP. All of those balls that Dak threw weren't perfect. The man went 9 of 9. I think CD was like 5 out of 11 or 6 out of 11 targets. You know, you can see that a lot of those games in previous games prior to GP being there, CD is probably getting over targeted in order to even make the numbers he makes. And unfortunately, he is dropping a lot of balls this year. I am not going to be one of those that creates a narrative that pits, you know, two receivers against one another, because I do believe they have a brotherhood and they have a synergy.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it as iron sharpens iron, or iron sharpening iron. And I hope that whatever CD is in, you know, the funk, the rut, he comes out of it, because we do need him.
Yeah.
His presence does help GP, the running backs, the other wide receivers, Tolbert, Flournoy, Turpin. It helps them. I would be lying if I said his presence is not needed. However, there are impactful moments in the game. You know, we could have closed out that game with that touchdown he dropped. It's just, you know, we're looking at it, we're witnessing it, and I hope he does come out of that funk. Anything else, Tank? I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So as far as Pittsburgh, I said last week that it was a high school offense that they were running, and I make an apology to that was wrong. That was hyperbolic. It was wrong. That is not, and it was insulting. That's not a high school offense that they're running. They're running a Pop Warner offense.
Oh my God.
It's utterly embarrassing. It is a disgrace to be putting that type of game plan on the field every week, and people are paying to see it. There's no reason. I mean, it's terribly predictable, and it's terribly ineffective. It's a shame that, Omar Khan, they call him the Khan man. He makes these deals. He made more deals this past offseason and during this season than our previous general managers have done. But we've seen nothing has come of it. Nothing whatsoever. The talent or lack thereof at the skill positions on their offense is a disgrace. And really, people talking about Tomlin. I don't know. I think I'm sure he has a lot of pull in the building because of how long he's been there. But he and Khan, but for him to have to trot out there every week, that damn castor oil sandwich and forcing us to take a bite of it every week is terrible. You've got a 309. We got a 309-pound tight end,
big boy,
who can catch and should be scheming to get him open and hitting him when he's moving, because regardless of a semi, as powerful as a semi is, when it's parked and you try to start up, it's no power, it's good enough. Only time he's effective with the ball in his hand is when he's running, when they've thrown it to him when he's in motion. Now you've got Freiermuth, the other tight end, who you're doing the same thing with. He's the little one, and he's 260 pounds. We got two running backs who are, how can I put this in? If they were anywhere else in the league, they would be they would be the relief backs. They would be the third down backs or change of pace when the starter gets tired. Neither one of them needs to be starting. Wide receivers, we have none. All we got is DK, and we can look at what he did when he was in Seattle. We haven't seen that in Pittsburgh because they can't scheme to get him open. They will not send him the ball down. They don't try to get him open deep. They don't scheme him. It's terrible, man. I'm not going to even go into the defense, the highest paid defense in the league that's stealing money. I'm not even. It's freaking disgusting, man. We go on to the next topic because I could do this all night. but I don't want to turn this into a suck show because they suck right now. But we are not happy in Still a Nation.
You get it out?
Yeah, I'm getting it out. I feel better now.
Okay. I just want to make sure you're good.
But it's disgusting, man. And you got to admit, if you were the owner and you looked out and saw that on the field every week, you already got 4 tight ends on the roster. Why in the are you bringing in an offensive lineman, making him tackle, making him receiver eligible, and running him in motion as another damn tight end on that same tired off tackle run that everybody knows is coming at least 3 times a quarter? But I digress. Let's go on to some better topics and talk about some other things that will bring joy to people's hearts.
Hey, before I got 2 questions. Well, I got a statement and some good news.
Okay.
I got a question and some good news. Which one you want first?
Make the statement. The question, statement, yeah.
The question.
Yeah.
Who had, from an NFL perspective, who has the best offense in Pennsylvania?
Philly? That's not even that's not even
the offense better than Pittsburgh.
Yeah, in every position.
Somebody, well, I did say NFL. Somebody in the chat talking about Temple. But and the good news is you all have Buffalo this week.
Yeah, see, look, let's put it this way. We got Buffalo, we've got the Lions, and we've got the Ravens twice. And I want to say we got KC. We're looking at potentially going 6 and freaking 11. The only upside of that is that we'll finally finish bad enough to draft in the top 10 and hopefully find a franchise quarterback.
That is something, man. So, having said that, we're gonna move on to the.
What's the good news, man?
Well, that was the good news. Y'all got the bill. We're gonna move on to the next topic. And the next topic, I'm just segueing into something. College football polls. The latest ones came out. We still have Ohio State at number 1. We're gonna do the top 4. Mm-hmm. Second seed being Indiana right now. Third seed being Georgia, and the 5th seed being Texas. Well, the 4th seed being Georgia, 3rd seed being Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. All leading into state rivalry week.
You mean Texas Tech?
Texas Tech 5th. Georgia A&M 3rd.
Texas A&M. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Texas. And I think is it Texas A&M playing Texas this week? Georgia. So. Texas A&M Tech. So it's Ohio State, Michigan. It's about to shuffle a little bit, because
rivalry weekend.
Yeah, mm-hmm. it brings out a lot in that. And I bring up those college polls. I know I got a lot of being from the state of Florida, having that fan base. Miami 12. We're not on the outside looking in, but I know a lot of y'all are gonna wonder if I would say something, But it is what it is. Now, I say that because our in-state rival, who's going to actually play University of Florida this weekend, and that game probably doesn't matter. It seems that the Florida State Seminoles have decided to keep Norvell. And I'm just asking you, Tank, you think that's a good idea for Florida State, or do they need to? Well, there's nothing they can do. They're keeping him. A lot of Florida State fans are like, Florida State doesn't even want to play football anymore as a program. So do you think this is good for Florida State that they're keeping him?
I think it gives some continuity to the program, and I think that he's building. You don't like it, and a lot of it's not like they've been a powerhouse recently. There's ebbs and flows to just about all programs, but I think he's got them going in the right direction. I think he's going to get them back on track. But people instantly want you oh, okay, you're here, you should be winning the national championship within 6 months. And we know it doesn't work that way. And then, of course, they're looking at what's going on. They're looking at Miami winning. Looks like they're on the uptick. So that kicks in. But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with keeping them for
That hurts.
another year. Yeah, but they could always get rid of them at the end of next year. I think they just want to give them one more year to see, okay, because they have been playing better recently.
I'm all about one more year.
Yeah, they've been playing better recently.
Continuity is good. I'm all about one more year because if he has another year like this year, I'm not going to be upset.
Yeah.
That's just me. Florida State is Florida State to me. Then let's move on out west to the University of Southern California and why it has become so difficult for them, especially on defense, to recruit players. And I'm saying that because here at No Jazz, we are old school and throwback a lot. And USC used to dominate football in the John McKay, John Robinson era. Then, it came back again during the Pete Carroll era. Of course, we know that. But it seems to have fallen off again in a major way. And so I'm just asking you, Tank, what do you feel USC needs to do? Or is it just too spread out for them at this time to recruit better?
There's enough talent in California for USC to be able to field the defense. But remember, he didn't have he couldn't field the defense at Oklahoma either. He could get the offense going, but he couldn't field the defense. And again, he needs to look himself in the mirror and say, okay, obviously I don't know what the hell I'm doing when it comes to building a defense. I need to go out and get one of these top defensive coordinators or up and coming defensive coordinators from somewhere else and bring them in and give them carte blanche to bring in whomever we need to do, because there's enough talent in California. There's enough talent in Oregon because Oregon brings a lot. There's enough talent in the western part of the country that they should be able to have a dominant enough defense to take care of business.
Is Oregon's rise? Is Oregon's rise the reason why USC?
No, because USC defense has been horrible for years, and they need to really bring in somebody who knows defense, and they need to expand their recruiting base. Yes, because USC has or used to have and should still have enough panache to go across the country and bring in basically whoever they want.
Shout out to panache.
Because they do. You can say, hey, with USC, you should be able to go into Pennsylvania and bring in a linebacker and tell him, hey, you need to come here instead of going to Penn State. You should be able to go to Florida and say, look, we got beaches and sunny skies too. And we don't have hurricanes, pun intended. And you can come out here and dominate. We've got a history of winning national championships. We got a history of Heisman trophies. That tradition, the location, and being the only, and formerly being the only show in town, should be able to help them recruit. But I don't know what their issue is. Maybe they aren't dealing with it. Maybe they don't want to pay NIL money. Maybe they're looking for a certain type of player. But whatever it is, it needs to stop, because that defense that they keep trying out there is embarrassing year after year. You've had Willie McGinnis, you had Junior Seau, you've had Ronnie Lott, you've had Palomalu. You've had Bush, what's his name? Keith Rivers. Now, is it Rivers? No, Keith Rivers is from Oklahoma, I believe. But they've had quite a few defensive stalwarts over the decades that they should be able to get guys in there. And it's not working for whatever reason.
Shout out to Snoop Dogg and the football league, and I'm not knocking them, but just in your own opinion, because you're a Georgia boy, is California football talent hyperbolized?
I don't think so. It's just that it's really just that most of the talent out west is in California, as opposed to the southeast and the southwest, where there's talent is more spread out. Because you don't think of there's talent in Nevada, but it's not the same caliber. You don't think of Nevada, Idaho, Washington State, Montana when you think of football. So they should be able to, whatever good players or top players in those states, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to get them to come to USC. They should be able to steal the talent that they do have in Arizona. All of that entire West Coast should be funneled through USC, to be, if you want to be honest.
California believes in their talent like Texas believes in its talent. Like they do believe that we can recruit homegrown. Florida's the same way. Georgia's the same. We can recruit homegrown. And but the thing is, the different Texas, unlike California, even though it's spread out, USC it usually is the target.
Yeah.
For the kids growing up, where we have multiple targets coming out of Florida, multiple targets in Georgia. Even though Georgia is the main target, UGA is the main target in Georgia. So, that's hard to say. Now, we're going to transition back over into the NFL. But before we transition back over into the NFL, I just want to let everybody know this is the No Jazz Show, NOJASSSHOW. On Instagram, the No Jazz Show, THE No Jazz Show. We are live on Twitch. We are live on Facebook at DUPONTZNIVEK, The Locker Room. Also on Tank's page live. Also on YouTube live. Shout out to everyone joining us. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, and comment on all of our videos and on our lives. Now, big news, because I could have started the show out with this. This young man is a serious hashtag, and he might take up a lot of this segment. But we're talking about Shedeur Sanders' first start. I want to point out first start as a Cleveland Browns quarterback. He did get his reps with the first team. After, in a sense, not protecting the lead. When he got in last week, he played the whole 4 quarters, started, and came out with a win. And I do believe that a rookie starting quarterback, since they hadn't won, a rookie starting quarterback hadn't won since 2017, 2012, something like that.
For the Browns?
For the Browns.
95, Eric Zeier.
It was 95.
Yeah, Eric Zeier.
Oh, wow. So
shout out to Eric Zeier. People who were Georgia fans,
University
thought
Georgia,
thought he was one of the top quarterbacks that ever come through the place.
So it's like, I don't know what level of psychology Kevin Stefanski was on, but to not offer that man a game ball, that was kind of weird to me personally. Through a great pass, everybody's talking about the improvisation, not a wheel route. I mean, not a rollout pass. He just improvised through a 52-yarder, which the receiver would have finished it for him. But they did come out with a win. However, the question is, what's his play and was the game his performance? And week to week, and I'm one to give all quarterbacks and all players in the NFL, actually, no matter what position, 3 years. I like to give you 3 years before we really assess, your progression and what you are. However, was the game and his performance hyperbolized? Like did we make too much of it? Well, I won't say we. But the social media and everybody that's a fan of Prime and all of his offspring, they didn't make too much of the win.
I don't care what y'all say in the chat because I know y'all gonna come for me or whatnot. But yes, it's extremely hyperbolized. Uh, I'm not gonna even go into it was the Raiders and the Raiders. You got the Raiders, the Browns, and the Jets, the three armpits of the NFL. I'm not gonna even go into how bad the Raiders are because they are. Well, I don't want to call them a professional team. They are at the NFL, but there's too much. I think there's too much being given to them winning with Shedeur under center. Uh, the real reason they won is because their defense had 10 sacks. The real reason they won is because Myles Garrett has decided that he's going to do the same thing that Cortez Kennedy did and win Defensive Player of the Year for a team that can't win games. So that's really what's going on. And the Browns do have one of the top defenses in the league. They just don't have an offense to pair with it. But yeah, I think it's too many people for more than football reasons who are blowing up the fact that they won the game with Shedeur under center. Shedeur was 11 of 20, completed just over 50, I think 51% of his passes. Threw a bad interception. There was triple coverage around there.
Rookies get that, but it was triple coverage.
Yeah, but there are things that he did well, and there's a lot more things that he did that he didn't do well, and it's not Doug Williams winning the Super Bowl.
You saw that picture?
Yeah, it's not. But people are acting like it. He went out, to be honest, he had the same caliber performance in his first start that Dillon Gabriel had in his start.
But he got a W.
But he got the W. And that W again stems from that defense being dominant.
Myles Garrett is a beast.
Yeah. So pipe down. I'm not telling you that Shedeur can play in the NFL as a starter and be very good. And I'm not telling you that he can't, because we've seen a game and a half of him. Let's let him get. He's been named the starter for this week.
Yes,
let's see how he does against who they're playing. Who are they playing? They're playing a team. They're playing a good team this week. I can't remember who
they're playing. The 49ers.
Yeah, they're playing the 49ers, who have a defense, and their offense is formidable. So we're going to see how that looks. And the same energy that everybody's having about Shedeur, this, that, and the other, after this game, if the 49ers come in and tear them up and the offense doesn't do much, keep that same energy. Don't say, well, it's only his second start, or, well, he's only had 2 weeks of practice, or this, that, and the other. Keep the same energy. He's going to look good at times. He's going to look bad at times. Next year, if he's trying to show Stefanski that, hey, I can be the starter for this team long term. Now, something I didn't like, and people going to get upset, I didn't like after the game and they talked to him, he made it about himself. They want to see me fail. It ain't going to happen. He said nothing about what the defense did.
He's caught up in the narrative too.
Yeah. He said nothing about the defense. He said nothing about, man, my line did this, or those guys, they really helped me out. These guys, hey, we came in here, we played together as an offense, we stuck with it. There was no acknowledgement of anybody else from his mouth, from his lips, other than him. He did not set the world on fire with that game. He did not. He showed some sparks, and he can't. There are some things that he can do that Gabriel can't do, or the Gabriel didn't show. But pipe down. It's 1.5 games. And he
Brown
does,
defense had 10 sacks.
yeah. So let's see what happens this week. If he plays well, I admit that he played well. If he doesn't play well, I admit he didn't play well. And I'll also admit that he's a rookie and he's got a horrible offense around him. So it's not like he's got great help. But just take it for what it is. Hey, he started, they got the win. He didn't look horrible. He really looked about what you would expect from a rookie who's a 5th round pick who finally got his first week of reps, and keep it moving. Nothing more, nothing less. Do I want him to fail? No. Do I want him to succeed? I'm a Steelers fan. He's playing for the Browns. So no, I don't want him to succeed in that aspect.
Point out that context, please. Point out that context for everyone. Like people don't understand that, you're an NFC North guy. You're not going to root for Shedeur, good or bad.
Right. But if he
don't take what Tank's saying personally, chat, because
But if he plays well, I admit that he played well, and good for him, good for the Browns. But I don't have a quarterback. I don't need anybody else in my division with a quarterback playing well. But if he plays well, I admit that he plays well, and hey, congratulations. But I'm not getting caught up in a mediocre game, because that's what it was. It was a mediocre game. Because if Shedeur played this same game halfway through the season next year, y'all be ready to run him out of there because he can't play. That's what they be saying. So let's keep it in context.
I got a question, because since we're on the Browns, because there is a positive note, and I'm talking about a gangster. We all know who Myles Garrett is. And I just want to just get your perspective on this from a social media standpoint. Shedeur is definitely a hashtag of all hashtags. The young man has the second rated hashtag in sports. Third. Yes, it's actually third behind the Cowboys. I'm gonna say Lakers and LeBron, and then him from a hashtag. However, if Myles Garrett was doing what he's doing this year, Myles Garrett is on his way to breaking the NFL single season sack record, right? And I hope he does break it. And Shedeur was starting the whole year. From a social media standpoint, you know how social media is. Do you think that watching Myles Garrett be as surgical as he is on the defensive line and rack up all these sacks, do you think social media would have created a comparison like they do with LeBron and Jordan and say Myles Garrett is better than Lawrence Taylor? And I'm just talking about if you had an opportunity to because a lot of people don't get it's Cleveland. So you don't get an opportunity to witness what this young man is doing, and I don't want it to go without being said that he's always been phenomenal. Always. This is nothing new. He's just on another trajectory this year. And I just believe social media would have been able to witness this young man do what he's doing, and somebody would have pulled that rabbit out of their hat.
It would have been. Yeah, it would have had to been a real football fan or a Cleveland Browns fan, because I don't think too many people, if they aren't Browns fans, have watched Myles Garrett play. And the reason I say it, because it's the Browns. Why would you specifically look at the Browns to play?
Unless Shedeur starting.
Yeah. So I don't think they would have gotten that kind of traction, but somebody would have pulled up some group would have pulled up a stat and placed those two next to each other. But of course, it would have been, well, Taylor was the outside backer and Myles at the DN, so you can't compare them. But he is definitely on Hall of Fame.
Pass rusher.
Yeah, he's. Remember, Miles is also was overshadowed all these years by Aaron Donald, who people say, hey, he's the best or one of the very best
There's
to
some
ever
Aaron
play the
Donald.
position.
There's
Yeah,
some TJ Watt.
TJ Watt, yeah. So he's been second and third fiddle for basically his whole career.
Michael Parsons even started getting some. I mean, due to the team he was on, some airtime.
Getting some run. So Miles has been second, third fiddle for his whole career. This is the first year that a spotlight is being shown on him a little more, and that spotlight is being shown on him really, or the team's being talked about more because the hashtag guy you talked about, because people are always bringing him up, so yeah, but I don't think that it would have happened, but
unless he plays the Ravens.
Yeah, he plays the Ravens. He's on the ungodly pace right now. I got a friend say he thinks he's gonna wind up with 26 sacks. And
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, and he's on pace to break, because the unofficial sack record is Al Baker from the Detroit Lions with 23 sacks in 78 or 77. 78 or 79. He had 23 sacks. I believe he was a record.
Shout out to Tank. Shout out to Tank of the No Jazz Show for always being on point with his stats, bringing up the old school, bringing up the stats that fall under a rock that we don't remember at times. So shout out to you, Tank.
I appreciate that. And that name isn't brought up, or they don't know that stack number, because the sacks weren't an official stat until 82.
So shout out to the chat. Shout out to the people in the chat. But you all know him. Everybody know Deacon Jones.
Yeah.
So, we knew Deacon Jones probably had about 27, 28, before they started counting. We get it. We get it. Now, speaking of records, we did see, because the Browns do meet them next week, so I'm just going to move right into the 49ers. And we saw them win last night convincingly. Good game. A little skirmish at the end, but we're not going to get into it. But Christian McCaffrey on his way to another 1,000. This will be his second one.
Yep, this will be the second one.
Do you think he's gonna get it this year?
I think that he is. He only needs 50 yards rushing and 50 yards receiving in each game to break it.
So now we're looking for the record.
Yeah. We're just looking for him to get 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving again.
Gotcha.
He can wind up with 1,001 rushing and 1,001 receiving. So, but he only needs 50 yards. I calculated last night based on what he did yesterday. He needs like 50 yards rushing and 50 yards receiving each week to go over to get the 1,000.
Right. You need to average that.
Yeah, and I believe he's going to do it. And I think Shanahan, if he can get them in playoff position to win, make it to the playoff, he'll probably look to try to get him that, because that is something as far as to be able to do that. Just the fact that you got 2,000 yards offense you did as a receiver and as a running back. Now, however, if he does it, it's not like, how can I say it? Because this goes somebody else. If he does it just gets over 1,000 of each, phenomenal. We know it's phenomenal. I'm not talking about saying, hey, it's not anything, because it is. It's phenomenal. He'll have done it twice. To do it once is a heck of a feat.
Right.
But when you look at the numbers themselves, it's 100 yards a game. So I'm not going to poo-poo that. But That means you only need to rush for just over 60 yards every week, and you only need to have you need 5 catches for 12 yards apiece. You need 60 yards each. So they're not phenomenal numbers in each category, if you understand what I'm saying. 60, I mean, he got 63 yards rushing this week. If your running back is doing that, you aren't saying, man, he's really tearing it up. If he has 63 yards receiving each week, you aren't saying, man, he's really eating them up, because those numbers themselves are not impressive.
They're not
But
impressive. That's
yeah,
all
but
he
but the cumulative number of those over the whole season, when you combine them, is what makes them impressive.
If they're going for the record, and where the 49ers sit, especially chasing the Rams out west for home field advantage. Shout out to Matthew Stafford. I think him getting 50 and 60, knowing he can get the 1,000, is okay. You got 60, you got 50 or 60. Sit down and get ready for the playoffs. Now I think if you look at it from that context, I don't mind those pedestrian numbers.
Yeah.
You know, now if he has to go above and beyond that for the win, that's a different story. However, you know, if you have the game locked in and it looks good, I would definitely get the numbers, reach the mark.
I think Shanahan's gonna scheme it into everything to help him get those numbers, but not to sacrifice winning, but to win, for him to get those numbers, and it falls in line with them winning as well.
Fall in line with him staying healthy.
Yeah.
You know, for when it matters.
You got to give Shanahan credit, because that team has been decimated by injuries this year, and he's got them in the thick of it. I mean, he can, for whatever reason, he can't do a damn thing when he gets into a Super Bowl, but all those games leading up to it, he's a mastermind. And people
trust me, I know a lot about regular season feats.
Yeah. So yeah, but I would like to see him get it. I would. It'd be history, and anything that had this history in the NFL, I enjoy seeing it, even if it's a Brown breaking all-time sack record.
Absolutely. Now we have the Raiders and the Las Vegas Raiders and the New York Giants firing their coordinators this week. And does it even matter, you know, that they're not going to travel anywhere and go to the playoffs? Or is it just kind of like, you know, let's put the blame on somebody, their collateral damage, get someone else in, and move on to next year? So, you know, like should they have kept them? I mean,
at this point, for the Raiders are bereft of talent. They've got Max Crosby on defense. They got Bowers on offense, and they got hopes and dreams and Gentry on offense. And they got pedestrian players everywhere else on the defense. And to get rid of Chip Kelly, who shouldn't have been hired in the first place, you know, he shouldn't have been hired.
Somebody in the NFL, man, he keep getting him a little job.
Yeah, he got some pictures. Yeah, he got pictures of somebody butt naked on the zebra. But I wouldn't have hired him in the first place. But I think at this point in the season, your quarterback is horrible. Your passing game is non-existent. What are you going to do offensively now? Because you still got the same playbook. It's not like you're going to have an all new offense now. It's not like, okay, I got promoted up to offensive coordinator. Look, guys, here's the playbook that I had all along. This is the one we're going to use. No, it's not going to work. You're not doing anything. Pete Carroll needs to go also, to be honest. Pete's 73.
Football passing by.
Yeah, he's 73. He's on a 3-year contract. He's there to try to help them have some semblance of respectability because he's not there to build them into a winner right now.
Did they bring Gruden back?
Nah.
Long gone. That fish that ship to sail.
Now I can tell you who might get hired. I hope that Pittsburgh hires him, offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Cooter, in Indianapolis. Offensive coordinator. I could see him being brought in if you can. I could see him being brought if you could try to tell him, hey, making a lateral move over here is going to set you up because Pete gonna be gone in another year or two. But
right.
Yeah, and the Giants, they in the same boat. Their defense can't clog arteries. So I mean, it's just bad. But I think when you make those late season coaching changes, it's really like, okay, it really just looks like, okay, the management is trying to make it look like, hey, we don't like what's going on, so we got to do something. We're gonna make the fan base say, hey, at least they care. It's cosmetic because it's not. Neither one of them is gonna be lights out. The Raiders or the Giants for the rest of this year because they changed the coordinator.
All right. Speaking of changes, we're gonna go into. Well, we knew this happened, and it's been a two-week assessment. I'm giving it 3. Especially with the short week because I kind of want to see what they do. But it is a question, and you know me, as I stated before, I do not like to discuss teams and give them any level of publicity if you're not at 500. However, we are talking about America's team, Thanksgiving, and we're actually going to watch Thursday the Dallas Cowboys play the old Dallas Texans.
Yeah.
In Kansas City. And the question is, did you see some improvement in Dallas's defense?
Yes,
Is it real between the tune-up in Vegas and playing? Were they the top seed in the NFL? Now I know they're the top seed in the NFC.
In the division, but not in the NFL. They weren't. No,
they weren't the top seed, but Philadelphia was the top seed. In the division at that time. So, and before I go on, a lot of people, because you mentioned Genty, and someone said Saquon Barkley is playing like Ashton Genty. I don't want to tangent too far. I want to stay with my question, but I just want to say this: don't do Saquon like that. Man, that's a lot to be saying, and he almost broke the single season rushing record last year. A lot of these media pundits and football and sports pundits are making light of, especially Stephen A. Smith, like, what's he doing this year? We've said this on episodes before. When you rush for that many yards the previous season, you really don't do as well the next year. It's just it's not on Saquon. Like this is just NFL history. So the expectation of him doing anything close to what he did last year simply was not there. So don't do him like that. Now, having said all of that, did you see it? Go ahead.
Yeah, as far as that, when you have 400 touches, when you put up over 2,000 yards, like you said, the history is that those numbers go down drastically. You know how many yards? You know how many yards Eric Dixon had the year after he hit 2105, and they said he had a bad year. He had 1,200 and something yards after the year after he hit 2105, and they were talking like, "Oh man, he had a bad year."
He had a bad year. Plenty of running backs. Eric Rett, shout out to Eric Rett, would have loved a 1,200 yards. That would have been a contract negotiation for a lot of running backs, but it went down considerably due to the touches.
Yeah.
So Don't do that young man like that, SAS. That's historically not fair for you to do that. Now back to the question. Did you see a level of improvement in Dallas's defense? Let me see if their ranking changed while you answer that question.
Their front seven is definitely better, and I think they're going to get even. They're going to improve even more because those guys now will have 2 weeks under their belt, 2 games under their belt. They played a piss poor team in the Raiders and did what they should have done. Now you play defending Super Bowl champions, regardless of how they were playing. You got down 21 points and you shut them out in the second half to help to spur your team to a 3-point win. So there's no way you can't help but to say that defense has improved. How much we'll see in the long run, but yes, they are better. And because their defense has improved the past couple of weeks, Dallas is now more of a threat to make some noise in the playoffs.
Whoa.
If they make it to the playoffs, they are. I'm not saying they're gonna win in the playoff games, but they are in a position to make some noise because things are looking crazy in the NFC right now.
Things looking crazy in the NFC. A lot of teams gonna beat up on each other. We're gonna get to that point. After I tackle this point, this is how bad they were. They have gone from being ranked 31 to being ranked 29. Shout out to the Cowboys for having still being in the bottom third, but you're not at the bottom of the of NFL defense. Now, did you mention playoffs?
If they make it, they end up because the only team in their division that's going to be in the playoffs, we want to assume is Philly, and they have in Dallas is in a position that they could make a late season push and get there because of some things that's going on in the NFC North. So, they're still on the outside looking in, but they got a shot. They have a shot. They have a shot that they could somehow wind up the 7th seed, but it's a long shot because the NFC South, NFC
North.
or South, not just North, but the West.
The West, the West
is
West has the stronger.
Three. They could wind up with 3. I think the NFC.
Green Bay look hurt. They trying Detroit, Chicago.
They on the outside looking in. The Chicago looks like they're gonna ride this wave.
Right, Chicago might ride this wave. McCarthy, we gonna get to him. McCarthy, he looking.
We talked about it early in the season about bust and things like that, and so I'm withholding judgment on calling him a bust at this point because he's only got 7 games in the NFL.
7 games.
Yeah. So I'm not going to call him a bust now, but his trajectory is trending towards the bust category.
And if you watch any of our previous episodes, you will understand the criteria that we have. We have our own No Jazz specific criteria for Hall of Fame and bust. And you all really need to go back and look at that episode, both of those episodes, because the science of it being peer related and travel related as far as championships is concerned, we dissected that to a phenomenal degree, and I think a lot of people really should check that out and understand why we here at No Jazz say what we say in regards to that. Now, playoffs, Dallas. I don't want to lose that point. Here's the thing. Numerically, I think they only can afford to lose 1 game.
Yeah, at the most.
At most. And it has
everybody else has to be losing too.
And technically the 1 game that they can afford The one game they can afford to lose is Thursday because everything else is division or conference. Excuse me. Everything else is conference. So if you're going to lose Thursday. The issue I'm having with people mentioning playoffs is if they go on a 6-0 run to be in a better position at 11-5-1, that means you're still probably the 6th or 7th seed. You're not going to get a bye.
Yeah, right.
Like somebody really has to crash and burn for you to get a bye.
They'll never get a bye because only the number 1 seed gets a bye, and they are going to have a record better. They are going to have a better record.
They're not going to have a better record. And so my thing is 30 plus years historically, even if you at best do 6-0, go 11-5-1, play the first week of the playoffs, and your streak ends game 1 of the playoffs, it's all for naught. So we're really talking about because you go on a run like that, the expectation is going to be what it always is. And you all have to watch that. You all have to watch that episode of the No Jazz Show in regards to the franchises that have those expectations, regardless of when you were born and how you were born, and you haven't seen whatever in some odd years. Certain franchises have expectations that go beyond regular season. It's just what it is. So make sure you check out that episode. A 6-0 run to be ousted in the first round, and you look back and say, well, dang, we won 6 straight and lost 1. You can't choose to lose week 1. Honestly, you can't choose to lose if you make it to the playoffs and make it to round 2. It literally is NFC Championship game or bust if you make the playoffs. It's just that's why
that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be real hard.
That is a very difficult. You didn't do what you needed to do early. That is a very difficult task. If by some phenomenal, if God rest his soul, and I don't mean to make light of this, because the young man lost his life. But if Marshawn Nealon comes down and plays like Kadeem Hardison did in that Ghost movie, with Marlon Wayans, and he helped his team win. Like if Marshawn Nealon does something like that to motivate these boys, and he plays with them, because Dak did mention he helped to come back around. He needs to carry us to the Super Bowl. It's all for naught if you win and make it, and then you don't travel. That is why I personally am just saying discussing the playoffs with Dallas is not something I personally want to discuss, because
it's a long shot. But if Philly can't get it together, it's gonna be it's gonna be an issue, because Philly, they're kind of looking, they're doing what they did a couple years ago, when all of a sudden it's like, what's really going on here? We just went to the Super Bowl. Why can't we do? So yeah,
they having it, and it could be burnout. Like that was a nice little run. Tampa Bay has had a great run, and you're seeing it now kind of come to a head. Those windows are not big. Going to the AFC, look at Baltimore is having difficulties because they've had those runs. KC,
Buffalo, KC, yeah.
KC
We
is
talked about
yeah,
this before, that playoff fatigue with and
yeah,
guys
playoff
like we
fatigue.
said, like KC, for instance, they played the equivalent of another season because of all these years of going so far in the
So
playoffs.
far, so this is Buffalo's year to do it. I think Detroit and the Rams, Seahawks, those fresh teams who've played all year to look as if they're going to travel far in the playoffs. San Francisco, they came to a head a little bit. They seem to be trying to bring that magic back, after what happened to them. But that is a very tall task to ask of a team who didn't get the job done early. Like one or two of those games changes the math a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you can say, okay, we can take a game off, lose, and get back on track, get our heads back in it. But 5 out of 6 and 6 straight.
Yeah,
And then
that's a tall order. But if they
that's a
do it,
tall order for this franchise. No other franchise, with the exception of Pittsburgh, the Raiders, San Francisco. Who else did we say? I think now the Bucks, Buffalo, because they went 4 times. Maybe the Giants, but
Green Bay.
Green Bay, the expectation is just different. When you have a tall task to make it, you don't get a week off.
Mm-hmm.
You jumping right in the fire. Like the best thing they can get is to be scheduled for the late game. If that were to happen, it's just a tall task for the Cowboys. So I don't want to speak on it. I'll be happy about it, but
yeah,
that's a very difficult run. That is a very difficult run. Now, I think you spoke on it a little bit, but is Philly in trouble?
I think they are, and it's not a talent deficiency. There's something going on chemistry wise and in people's heads, and they got to figure it out, and they got to figure it out quickly because they don't want to stumble into the playoffs and think, okay, all of a sudden we're gonna get it right. And he's proven himself over and over to be a winner, but I think this is a time when Jalen Hurts, he needs to ratchet it up a little bit. He needs to put himself in elite status as a quarterback, not just as a leader and a guy who can do things, but when people say, okay, we can win this game because Jalen is going to take over. Jalen hasn't put on his cape this year. That's what they need. They need Jalen to see what kind of cape he's got. Does he have a Superman cape? Does he have a Batman cape? Or does he have a Robin cape? A Robin cape wasn't nothing. So he's got to rally those troops. The defense is good enough to get the job done, but their offense is just they're misfiring. They got 2 cylinders that's not working. And I do think that Brown needs to, whatever the issue is, and whoever his issue is with, they need to go and talk it and hammer it out and because when he starts making tweets, even he says he's joking, even when he puts a tweet out, hey, if you got me in fantasy, don't start me. I mean, he could be saying, hey, I meant that as a joke or this, that, and the other. But when you say other things and when your team is not looking like people expected them to look, those things, they go a little further. Because like they say, behind every joke, there's a grain of truth.
There's a grain of truth in that. And I was about to say, it's a gift and a curse because you don't want to tell AJ Brown he was right or he is right. Like that could cause some dissension that's already there.
Mm-hmm.
He looks as if he's right, but internally you don't want to let him know he's right.
Yeah.
You just gotta fix it, because he has been saying what we're seeing. He's been saying it. Now, the problem with him saying it is he's speaking it into existence.
Yeah.
And he has to be very mindful that we are well, pretty much going into December. November is real football to me. And they are it's not looking good, because they could have easily lost to us earlier in the year if my man that I don't want to get into didn't drop too many passes,
Mm-hmm.
and he still got the droppies when he sees Philly anyway. So that's neither here nor there. But I do want to say this. Jalen Hurts, he's looking like this year, he's looking like someone challenged him to be Black Panther. And he went up on that hill and lost. And when you lose the battle to be Black Panther, everyone knows, if you've seen the movie,
Mm-hmm.
you have to battle that person as a straight up human. You have to be who you are. You can't. They take the orb out of you.
No claws.
Nope. So he's playing like he's lost his orb, and he needs to get the orb back. And I don't mean one game, because they too need to make a run, because they're going to need that break. They're really going to need that break. I think Saquon and that defense, as banged up as it is, are going to need that bye week for the first week of the playoffs. They could definitely use it to refresh and breathe. And I believe that falls on Jalen.
Yeah, they don't, because if they keep this up, if the Rams keep this up, nobody wants to see them in the playoffs.
No, and let's be, the Rams are, for any NFC team that's actually doing something, with the exception of, and I don't want to put them in there yet, but well, Seattle, San Francisco.
Yeah, Seattle too. Yeah, Seattle is definitely. And the team
Traveling
that's
out
playing.
west, traveling out west takes some time away from.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. You don't play NFL. You don't play the NFL playoffs in the bubble. You got to travel. And going out west, boy, you don't want to have to do that. That's something you don't want to have to do.
Yeah, and nobody, and you don't want to see the Bears, if they keep this up. You don't want to see the Bears in the playoffs. And I'm not saying it because the Bears are just some great team, but the Bears, they're playing with house money. Every week, the Bears are playing with house money, because you wanted them to be better this year. You thought they would be better, but they're on an 8-game winning streak. Wait a minute, 8-game winning streak. Wait a minute. We didn't expect this. Shoot, they doing a whole lot better than we ever thought. Shoot. Some of them Bears fans, of course, they get their hopes up real high, want more. But man, shoot, we don't want 8 games on the road. Shoot, I'm happy, if you want to be honest. I'm happy that we got the 8.
And let's be honest. Let's be honest. The Bears also have that 12th man that Buffalo has, New England has, and Green Bay has. You go have to play a playoff game in December and January in that cold. That's another type of football. You don't want to see any of that.
Yeah. And Johnson with his calling that offense, that's something completely different too that you're not ready for. Because he calls a heck of a game on offense. Yeah, it was good.
And Caleb been improvising his ass off. Like he
Yeah, if he gets his completion percentage up,
if he get that completion
he's
percentage up, but
yeah,
he's not afraid to tuck it
yeah.
and just kind of change up the offense a little bit. So that's some things you don't want to see. Now, I kind of spoke of a few things, but I'm just going to just jump right into it. And before I jump right into it, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. No Jazz Show on YouTube, No Jazz on TikTok, No Jazz on Twitter, NOJASSSHOW. The No Jazz Show on Instagram. You are following us and watching us live on DUPONTZNIVEK. You're on the locker room. You're on Tank's page. What's your page, Tank?
Russell Tanker.
Russell Tanker. Right now. So definitely thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for coming with us in the chat. As we move into the hour and 30-minute mark of the show, I'm gonna ask you a question. Because I believe this has happened. I believe this has happened in the social media area. And the first social media I always said was the barbershop. But now, all these barbershops are coming together.
Yeah.
The way we look at all sports, this is probably a total sports view. Are we quick? Are we too quick as a generation? And I know what generation it is, to stamp these athletes generational. Do they have one phenomenal game, one phenomenal year, a gang of followers? Are they just famous, and then they get stamped generational? Before you answer, are we too quick? Give me your definition of what a generational talent really is.
For me, a generational talent is somebody whose ability and performance, because there have been a lot of guys who've had great ability, but their performance didn't reflect it. We call that wasted potential or wasted. But so you got the talent, but you also fulfill your potential, and you are. So for me, generational is somebody like you will come along once every 20 years or more. Not 10, but at least once every 20 years. Meaning that you stack up as good as the best or better than the best of the past 20 years. You're on par with
and you recalculate that every 20 years.
Yeah, like the past 20 years, yes, you are as good as whoever was the best during that time. Over a 20-year period. Let's say maybe the past 20 years or whatnot. You were like Barry Sanders was generational.
And then that 20 years carries into the next 20. Your name's still ringing. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You become like a temple.
So I think that we're too quick to say that, because all of a sudden everybody's got a GOAT next to their name. I'll tell you somebody who last year I think people were quick to do it, because before that he had been injury prone, he had been productive, he had a great rookie year, and his other years when he did hit 1,000, and we know 1,000 yards ain't a big deal anymore, especially with 17 games. But people were talking about, but now last year, halfway through the season and near the end, started hearing people talk about, hey man, he's a future Hall of Famer. He's on a future Hall of Famer. He's a future Hall of Famer. And Saquon Barkley, there were people, he's a Hall of Famer. No, he's not. He had a great year last year. He had a great rookie year. The rest
Right.
of his years, yeah, he was known as injury prone. He was, so I think that we are too quick to put that on people and try to measure them up against the past greats and say that they're better, or well, they're younger, they're this. No, the game has changed and they're this, that, and the other now. He couldn't have done this if he was playing from so couldn't have done that if he was playing today. I think we're too quick to do it, and we just run to the next great thing, next shiny thing. We want to put them up there in the rafters because they've been good for a little while. Not great, but they've been good for a little while. Or they shown that, hey man, he might be the best player. Being the best player doesn't make you great. Sometimes the talent pool around at their position isn't that good. So
they're gonna make Odell look better.
Yeah. Odell is another who they wanted to put up in. Why? Because he did this.
And he did it on Monday night against us. Like that platformed him, and he in New York. That is true. And I believe it's not a we, it's social media. It's the media pundits who always want to be the first one to say, I told you so. So they just start saying things, and then their human bots who want to get the clicks start repeating the things they say. Generational talent, like Jerry Rice has 2 careers that you can split in half, and they're Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You can put one of his careers, and I'm going to say another generational talent. You can put I'm going to put 2 of them. You can put one of his careers, just choose one. Just choose one. You can put one of his careers up against T.O., Megatron, and Randy Moss. And it's Hall of Fame. Choose one. So that's a template. And then you start making generational talents out of people who had the half of a career of T.O., Megatron, and Randy Moss.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff, like I can't tell people what to do, but I'm just not a proponent of it.
Yeah, we're too quick to run and name somebody say they're as good or better than somebody else who's stood the test of time. I mean, because for whatever reason, everybody wants to run and throw somebody up against Jordan in basketball. Now, everybody wants to, I mean, is he as good or is he better, or could he have done that if he was playing it? I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, man. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Now, I got to ask you, as we move along into this part of the segment, because I actually have one this week. I have me a twin.
Okay.
You got a twin?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So let's move into the part of the segment that we call the twin, which stands for this week's impact name or notable, whichever one you want to choose. Just to give you a background on how this works, we pick a player from from the current week in the NFL, and we take their phenomenal game, their phenomenal play, and we compare them to a great player of the past, yesteryear, current, past, But the criteria for that player is we all know everybody that has all the film, just like I named the T.O.s, the Jerry Rices, the Randy Mosses, the Megatron. We know them, the Barry Sanders. We know them. Who else we mentioned in our LTs? We know them. But we compare them to some phenomenal player or a phenomenal game that they may have had that compares to. And they become their twins. And what the twin is their game, their play, it reminds you of what they did or something they did during their heyday. Because we all want everyone to be reminded of this great game that we love in the NFL, this great game of football. Has 10 other men that played with that player, and they did some things as well. Their name just doesn't ring in history like the main ones do, and it's well deserved for the main ones. Don't get me right, but we just want to pay homage to those guys, for their feats. So, with that being said, I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go first, and I'm gonna stay home because I'm happy. I'm going to wait till they re-sign him, or it's going to end up being or I'm thinking about making it just one of those, how I want to say, limited editions.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to wait till they re-sign him. I don't know. I'm falling in love with the young man. George Pickens, affectionately known as GP3. My boy, straight dog. Straight dog. In a game where we discussed it. We discussed it. It was and I'm gonna give you a background. There was a clip that I did. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Kenny Clark, Quentin Williams, the defensive tackle comparison, because 4 dogs were on that field. And to be honest with you, 2 dogs did their job the first half, and then the other 2 dogs did their job the second half. I'm gonna give it that, so I'm gonna go a tie on that one. But it's not about them. But the other 4 dogs on that field were George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, and Devonta Smith. And I gotta give it to 3 of them. Even though their offense faltered, Devonta stepped up and kept it scary. AJ Brown got it started. As mad as he was, that young man got it started. I think he actually had the better game of all 4. Shout out to CeeDee, clutch 48-yard catch in the midst of all the things he did, with those 11 targets, missing his ball, but we're not going to get on him. But GP, he gave it all to me, baby. He gave it all to me. And I'm not, and I will say this, I'm not from New York, so we don't play the Paul's game. He gave it all to me. And 9 targets, 9 catches, 48 on a double team, high point, and a TD. That was a bad man. That was a bad man. And put it on his back to, and I thought he was going to score. He was like one little trick away to put Aubrey in position to close out the game with a win. I have to give this young man his props. I do. And hold on, because I want to get the numbers right. His twin is Miles Austin.
Hey, Miles.
His twin is Miles.
I didn't see that coming.
Who on October 11th, 2009, caught 10 balls for 250 yards and hit for 60 with a TD. So in overtime, even though we didn't go to overtime, but he secured a 26-20 victory. Like it was a hard fought game against the Chiefs. Yeah, it was against the Chiefs. And he was, let me give you the parallel. The 1A that day, because he was a 2. The 1A, he was a 1B that day though.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, Dez Bryant was on the other side.
Yeah.
He the 1. So GP is considered the 1B. So that day in particular, we had a 1A and a 1B. So my twins are George Pickens for that 9 of 9 and Miles Austin. Probably, if I'm not mistaken, probably still the greatest wide receiver game in Dallas history. You know, depending upon how you kind of look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are my twins for this week. Miles Austin and George Pickens. Now you go ahead with yours.
Shout out to Miles Austin, name that you probably haven't heard on sports talk in quite some years.
Only on No Jazz. Only on No Jazz. Only on the No Jazz show. Only on the No Jazz show.
Well, I have I'm gonna switch it up just a little bit. I don't have twins. I don't have a twin for this week, but I got triplets.
Talk to me.
I got triplets.
So we can give birth to them too.
One from now and 2 from the past.
Okay. I like that. You taking a fertility pill?
Yeah. Blue Chew. No, but you're really.
Wow. Shout out to Blue.
Yeah, but my and my twin triplet for this week happened to share
that name
first.
too. I like that name.
Yeah, happened to share a name with one of your twins. My twin triplet is Myles Garrett.
Talk to me.
And it can be, you could do it for this week. He had 4 sacks. He had 5 sacks a week before. We already talked about the fact that he's on pace to crush the single season sack record. So he could be a twin for not just for the week, but for the year thus far. So it's Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns. And we mentioned this person earlier, Al Baker, who in 78 as a rookie had 23 sacks. People don't think about it. People don't talk about it because, again, this was before 82 when sack numbers sacks weren't official stats. But there's a website that has all the sacks from all the players. They review every game going back to 1960 to see who had how many sacks in each game. So these sacks go from 60 till today.
Super Bowl.
He finished. Yeah, Al Baker finished his career with 100.
Don't be bringing up Blue Chews and fingers, man. Like, come on.
he brought up. he finished his career with 132 sacks. Okay, so it's not like he's a flash in the pan or
Yeah, he didn't have just like he was a baller.
Yeah, he had 17 sacks to follow up that 23 sacks the following year, and the year after that he had 11. But nevertheless, Al Baker, Myles Garrett, and now this other guy, he finished with 131 and a half sacks. And these are not guys who are in the Hall of Fame, and people don't remember a lot of these guys a lot of times unless you were a fan of that team.
Right.
So the second in these triplets is Leslie O'Neal from the San Diego Chargers.
Ooh, shout out.
Leslie, go and look him up. He was a bad man. I'm sure you can find some clips on YouTube. The man was good for double-digit sacks. He blew his knee out back in the day when blowing your knee out meant, well, he could have, would have, should have been, but he came back the following year. No, he missed a year and then came back and was getting back up to his double-digit sack pace again. So my twin triplets for this week are current great Myles Garrett and past greats and not unknowns, but kind of forgotten, Al Baker and Leslie O'Neal.
Shout out. Young people.
Man, that's over 300 sacks between them three guys.
That's over 300 sacks. Young people in the chat. And what I mean by that is anybody under 35. Go look these people up. That's why we do this. 2009 is, I mean, we're not even going to talk about what 1960. And I believe Leslie O'Neal played up until the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. It was like 80s to 90s. 2009 is 16 years ago. So, imagine, how far back we went. But shout out to our twins and triplets for this week. It is George Pickens and Miles Austin and Myles Garrett, Al Baker, and Leslie O'Neal. Shout out to this week. Impact names. Knock it on down. Hey man, I'm gonna tell you to watch yourself a little bit though, because you got you off the chain. You said triplets. Let me tell you the wordplay. I caught this. You said triplet, blue chew, blew out. And Leslie. But you understand why I'm saying Leslie, right?
Why is that?
Leslie Nielsen?
Leslie O'Neal. Oh, Leslie Nielsen, the actor.
The actor. And what movie did he play in?
Airplane. What else?
Not the one I'm thinking about. The Naked Gun.
Oh yeah.
You're doing a lot. You're doing a lot right now. You're doing a lot. The subliminal wordplay on No Jazz is undefeated. Now, wow. And we move into the last of the show. I just want to thank everyone for joining us on this live. We're having fun. This is not about the money. This is about two old guys that have come together just to do something therapeutic for each other. You know what I'm saying? We don't feel like arguing on the internet with people who know everything. So we've created us a platform where we're gonna say what we want to say, and you get to use us. as your parenthetical documentation, to prove anything you got to sit up on the internet and argue about, because KD said it, the Tank said it, so it's true. But having said all of that, Tank, what are your last words for these people?
My last words. Today the NFL, the Hall of Fame, they announced, they released their list of first time eligible candidates for Hall of Fame induction. I think there were 2 slam dunks on there who are gonna go in first ballot. That's Drew Brees and I think Larry Fitzgerald. There's some other guys who I say not so much. And there are other guys who made the semifinal list who some are questionable, others are going might make it. Then we got senior guys. My thing with the Hall of Fame, I know you can't put everybody in at the same time every year. I understand that. But I don't believe that there's a plausible explanation for guys going in as on the senior committee. You haven't played in 30 years, 40 years, 25 years, and you haven't made it in the Canton. What changes this year to put you in the Hall of Fame? You didn't go out and play. You didn't add to your stats. Nothing about you has gotten better. Why is it that now these guys come up? And I just don't understand. What made me a Hall of Famer this year, but I wasn't one. Well, I wasn't one last year. Am I just, or is it that, hey, I'm more? You feel that I'm more deserving of anybody else who's on the panel this year? Or I don't understand why. I don't like that. I think there's some things they need to change with the Hall of Fame voting. And as KD said earlier, we've got our own quota, our own criteria for why and how you should get into the Hall of Fame. And also, and I know it means a lot to the guys' families and stuff. So not taking away from that, but I really don't like the fact that the Hall of Fame will vote a guy in posthumously unless he just passed and he's in his first couple of years of eligibility. But a guy who waits 20, 30, 40, 50 years, then and he passes on and you put him in the Hall of Fame, I really don't see the point. I mean, because you really want to be there to enjoy everything that comes with you being inducted. But I'm 6 feet under, hoofs up, and you put me in the Hall of Fame. Why? The Hall of Fame needs to go back and look at what and how they do inductions and come up with some hard line criteria. Because there's sometimes you look and you say, man, I don't know how he got in. I remember one year, and he's passed on now, but I remember one year when Floyd Little got in. Like came from out of nowhere. And I remember scratching my head saying, where did that come from? Not taken away from what he did on the field, but for Syracuse, his name will come up. For diehard Denver Bronco fans,
his name
older ones, it will come up. For the majority of NFL fans, older as well, they're not thinking about Floyd Little. There's no push for, man, why Floyd Little not in the Hall of Fame? So I think they need to revisit this. And we're going to see what happens next year, who gets put in and stuff. But I would just love for them to clean up the process, because there's no rhyme or reason for it outside of the obvious guys who should go in.
Absolutely. And I do definitely agree with you on that, because it almost looks as if they are trying to make it like the Oscars. Like we're putting you in this number, so you should just be happy you're nominated. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to win. And excuse me, you're not going to win, but you should be happy you're nominated.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost seems like they're doing that in that sense to satisfy something that they're not going to do or something they should have did years ago, etc. And hold on, I want to see this name. Oh yeah, because you mentioned Floyd Little. It's something that should have happened. Something that should have happened. And I'm not going to jump into your last words too much. But when you mentioned Floyd Little, it reminded me of Coach Ken Riley,
Mm-hmm.
who literally was. Now, we ain't gonna say he was him, but he literally in his era was prime before prime, and they didn't acknowledge Coach Riley. You know, he got the posthumous
Yeah.
Hall of Fame, and I always felt like, you know, because of the franchise he played for, they didn't push for him as much as he should have got pushed in. But it is better to hear those guys do their speeches, and I'm not saying Coach Ken Riley was one of those be happy to be nominated, but it is better to hear those guys give their assessment of their careers.
Yeah.
You know, football was different. The game is different when you played it, and I like to get up there and hear those speeches because
Mm-hmm.
it is a lot of sacrifice from a individual, team, franchise, family standpoint that a lot of those guys don't get to um, project to America, who's watching those Hall of Fame inductions that they should get to do that they don't get to do after you've been held in limbo from getting in for like 30 years. Now,
Right.
but shout out to all of those nominees. I wish you well because I know, you know, regardless getting in or not, it'll be great for your family because most definitely I don't think Tank is knocking it. He's just really looking at knocking them personally. He's just knocking the process. Just saying, you know, look at the process a little better. Now, for my last words, it's funny, I'm staying in Cincinnati. It's crazy. But for my last words,
Queen City.
Queen City. I'm going to go into two things that I saw last week, but I'm going to focus on one to get to my point. I am all for this new money that social media gives us, this new platform that all of these great stories and all of these rivalries and all of these old beefs that get to come out now that didn't get to come out back in the days. And this week I've seen Pac-Man Jones and the Steve Smith Sr. going at it. And regardless of who they are and regardless of what beef they have, I don't know, and I'm not getting into that, but y'all too over that. If it's some clickbait and you can get your money, I'm not mad at that part. I'm not mad at that part.
Mm.
But y'all too old for that.
Yeah.
And down in that, man, and you knew who Steve Smith Sr. was. Come on, Pac. Like, you come on, Pac. Like Pac just went into his bag of he just went into his bag of jokes. He know what come on, man. He just went into his bag of jokes to compare that man to people he knew were better than that. And I want to say this. Comparing him to Anquan Boldin was still bad because Anquan Boldin was a dog.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Anquan Boldin, if you look at any of our past episodes, Anquan Boldin actually made a twin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't like that. Now, the one that I'm really specifically getting at is the latest one, because I just took up with this young man the other week. And I believe he's a throwback NBA player who wanted to play in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and early 2000s. He was just born a little later. And I believe a lot of his mouth and a lot of the things he says is him just really trying to promote himself as I could play in your league. And a lot of the guys for whom he be talking about wish he was there so they could show him he couldn't be there. So I believe that's really what the argument is. And it's Draymond Green and Kenyon Martin this week. Like, y'all too old for that. You know, let that go. You know, Draymond, you still have some years to go. And I wish you the best on your career. Kenyon ain't old. You know, he born in 1977. So Kenyon probably about to be like 48, 49, pushing 50.
Yeah.
You know, so he's not an old man by far. So he still got a little mad dog in him, and he's not gonna let you just talk to him in any kind of way.
Anything, yeah.
Right. But the point I'm getting at about this is the point I'm getting at. Even though, because I want to say this as a kid of the 70s being born into the 90s, and Kenyon is about.
I see what you did there.
You saw that?
Yeah, I saw that.
He's about 4 years younger than me, but he was in that era of loving sports. You know, when you start falling in love with basketball, falling in love with hip hop and all that good stuff. So for him to say what he said, and there have been a lot of number one picks that didn't do well, you know, whether it be NFL, NBA. But Kenyon, out of respect, that's a name. I know you mad, Draymond, and I got a lot of respect for your game. Because like I said, I took up for you when you said that about that. But I'm just gonna say this. Kenyon, that's not the right one. That's not the right one to talk about, because Kenyon is from that respectable era where, and this is really what I'm getting at for my last words. Kenyon is from that respectable era where we as sports fans and we as kids, we saw your run in college. You became our hero in college. We didn't care what Allen Iverson and Grant Hill did once they got to the pros. Yes, we have the Kevin Garnett's and the T-Max, the LeBron James that skipped the NBA. I mean, skip college and jump straight to the NBA. But let's be clear. Let's be very clear. We love Larry Johnson at UNLV. We like Corliss Williams at UNLV. Kenyon Martin put Cincinnati on the map for me. I don't know who the Bearcats was till Kenyon Martin got there. That's a level of respect not only he gets from my generation and was the first overall pick. Was he 2009? I'm not sure. But regardless, no, he was before that. He way before that. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Maybe like 2000. Maybe like 2000. So I did not like him saying that man's career, because it was far from that. He played a game of basketball, and he came in when the players couldn't be weak down there. Anyway, he was only going to have a certain type of game anyway. And he played that game on a high level. And if it wasn't for Shaquille O'Neal with New Jersey and Shaquille O'Neal when he got to the Nuggets and Kobe, I'm going to give him his respect, he might have him a ring or two. Like, that man was not in any way a slouch. So I didn't like that. And I'm saying that in the retrospect of, you cannot take our because I was watching the Maui Classic this week too. You cannot take our college heroes away from us based on a draft and based on an NBA career. We gave them their props. Chris Webber and the Fab Five are just gonna be who they were no matter what. The Running Rebels gonna be who they were no matter what. The Hoyas, Reggie Williams, Patrick Ewing, no matter what. So, I mean, Kenyon Anthony, you cool, but your daddy in that tournament? Who's LeBron James? Who was LeBron James in March Madness? If LeBron James would have went to Ohio State, I guarantee you, if LeBron James make a run, and this ain't taking nothing away from you, LeBron, but if LeBron James make a run, if he go to Ohio State and make a run, and we get to remember that, we don't hate him for nothing. That's where the love began. It's hard to hate AI watching him do what he did with the Hoyas. If Kobe, God rest his soul, would have played 1 year at Duke, and we got to see it, there's no telling. People don't realize that the love for Jordan didn't start in Chicago. It started in North Carolina. I'm telling all y'all kids, one and done and all of that. I mean, you know, the game has changed, but college sports, and we get to see the baby be born.
It's different.
It's different. It's different. Our love for Prime came at Florida State first. My love for the playmaker came at University of Miami first. Desmond Howard still gonna be Desmond Howard. The Rocket Ishmael, I don't care what he did in the pros, it's still the Rocket.
Still the Rocket, yep.
Michael Vick can do whatever he want to do, but that game against Florida State and his years at Virginia Tech, I embrace that. So Draymond and anybody else that want to piggyback off that, don't you ever in your life feel like you can say something about somebody like Kenyon Martin, who put Cincinnati on the map. Magic put Michigan State on the map, Draymond. You didn't. So be mindful of that when you're doing that. And kids coming up, trust me, that is when we fall in love with you. And that love don't ever change. Ever. And those are my last words. Now, this has been the No Jazz Show, NOJASSSHOW. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming out. And remember, subscribe, like, share, comment. Follow us on No Jazz Show on YouTube. Follow us at The No Jazz Show on Instagram. Follow us at NOJASSSHOW, No Jazz Show on Twitch. We are streaming live on the platform of Riverside. Thank you, chat. We are on No Jazz Show on TikTok. We had 7 subscribers subscribe this week on YouTube. If you really wanted to wish me a happy birthday,
thank you, people.
Thank you, people. If you really want to wish me a happy birthday and you're watching, a birthday present to me would be to go and subscribe on YouTube. The value of that means a lot to me. The value of the Tank had a birthday. Tank, when was your birthday?
Last Monday.
Last Monday. Go subscribe. Happy birthday to Tank with a subscription. Please, you know, that's what we're asking you to do. We love y'all and we thank y'all for coming out. This has been the No Jazz Show on X. And we love y'all and we thank y'all for coming out. This has been the No Jazz Show live Tuesday nights. Make sure you join us every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Tank, salute your people. We are out of here.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving, people.